Alina's life began in a small town, a place where everyone seemed to know each other's name and every event was shared by the community. It was here, in this little town, that tragedy struck. At the tender age of 2, Alina lost both of her biological parents in a car accident. The incident shattered her world, leaving her in a state of complete confusion and sorrow. Though she had no memories of them, the emptiness she felt was something she couldn't comprehend. Her heart was heavy, even though she couldn't put a name to the sorrow. After the tragedy, Alina was adopted by Victor and Maria, a kind and loving couple who wanted to provide her with a family and a life full of care. They gave her warmth, stability, and everything she needed. But even with all their love, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Deep inside, she always wondered about her real family, about the parents she had lost, and what kind of life they might have had if they were still with her. But Victor and Maria never spoke of her past, and over the years, Alina began to put those thoughts aside, even though they continued to linger in her mind like an unanswered question. As Alina grew older, she excelled in school, made friends, and became independent. At 18, she moved into her own apartment, eager to begin a life of her own, but despite her accomplishments, she felt an overwhelming emptiness. She threw herself into work, her studies, and her social life, but nothing seemed to fill the void. One day, as she was flipping through an old family photo album, she found herself asking once again, "Who am I really?" The images in the album only served to deepen her sense of confusion. One chilly autumn evening, as Alina returned home from a long day at work, she noticed 2 figures standing by the entrance of her apartment building. A boy and a girl, both of whom looked remarkably similar. They were standing still, as though waiting for something, and Alina's curiosity was piqued. She had never seen them before. "Are you Alina?" the boy asked. "Yes, I am," Alina answered, a little taken aback. "We're your brother and sister. You don't remember us, but we're your real family." These words hit Alina like a thunderclap. She froze, trying to process what she had just heard. She stared at them, her mind racing. How was this possible? How could they be her siblings when she had never met them before? The boy introduced himself as Ilya, and the girl was Darina. They told Alina that they had been adopted by a different family, but since their childhood, they had been told about their older sister, who had been adopted even earlier. They had grown up with the knowledge of Alina, but had no idea where she was. Once they found out she existed, they had made it their mission to find her. They had been searching for years and were overjoyed to finally locate her. It turned out that Alina was not just their sister, she was their biological sister. Alina was stunned, her heart racing. They explained that their biological parents, Victor and Maria, had kept this from her all her life. They had hidden the truth about her siblings from her, and for the first time, Alina understood the deep void she had felt all these years. She wasn't alone. She had family. She invited Ilya and Darina inside her apartment, still in disbelief. They talked for hours, and they shared the emotional journey they had been on, explaining how they had lived in an orphanage for most of their lives, and how they had only learned about her when they were older. They spoke of the deep bond they had felt for a sister they had never known, and how they had never stopped searching for her. As the weeks passed, Alina spent more time with Ilya and Darina, and with every conversation, more of her past was revealed. She learned that their biological parents had been struggling. Their mother had suffered from mental health issues that had prevented her from raising them. Their father had been unable to care for them and had been forced to make painful decisions. Alina's biological mother had loved her deeply but had been unable to care for her. Victor and Maria, who had adopted Alina, had known the truth but had kept it from her, possibly out of a desire to protect her from the harsh realities of her past. They had kept the secret of her biological family to themselves, and Alina had never been told the truth. This knowledge shattered Alina's perception of the world she had grown up in. But there were even more secrets hidden in the past. Alina discovered a series of old letters, photos, and documents in her adoptive parents' home, things that had been carefully tucked away and forgotten for years. As she read these letters, it became clear that her biological mother had never wanted to be separated from her. She had written in the letters that she missed Alina deeply and loved her more than words could express. These letters revealed the truth that Alina's biological mother had tried to regain custody of her, but her mental health issues had stood in the way. The deeper Alina dug into the past, the more questions she had. Why hadn't Victor and Maria ever told her the truth? Why had they kept her in the dark? It became clear that Victor and Maria had kept the secret not out of malice, but out of a misguided attempt to protect Alina from pain. They had tried to shield her from the hurt of knowing the truth about her biological parents. But now, Alina was no longer sure what was real. One day, Ilya and Darina invited her to meet their biological father. They wanted to share the full story of their family's tragic history. Together, they went to a local hospital where Alina finally met the man who had once been her father. The meeting was emotional and overwhelming, as Alina learned about the struggles her biological father had gone through, the deep love he had for her, and the pain of being separated from his children. He explained that he had been unable to take Alina from the hospital after her mother had been declared mentally unfit, and the system had separated them all. The truth was painful, but it also brought Alina closer to understanding the circumstances that had led her to where she was today. She realized that, despite the mistakes made by her adoptive parents, they had tried to protect her from a difficult past. Her biological family had never wanted to lose her, but life had forced them apart. Months passed since Alina had discovered the truth, and although the process was difficult, she began to forgive Victor and Maria. She understood that they had acted out of love, but she couldn't help but feel betrayed. Yet, despite everything, she recognized the love they had given her and the sacrifices they had made to raise her. One day, she sat down with Victor and Maria, needing to express her feelings. Victor, sitting across from her, looked at her with guilt in his eyes. He apologized for not telling her the truth sooner. Maria, who had always been gentle and caring, held Alina's hand tightly. "We thought we were protecting you," she said softly, tears in her eyes. "But we were wrong. We should have told you everything." Alina, with tears streaming down her face, forgave them. She understood their fear, their desire to shield her from the pain of her past. But in that moment, she also understood that true healing would come only when all the secrets were brought into the light. As Alina spent more time with Ilya and Darina, she came to see them not only as her siblings but as the family she had been searching for all her life. They shared stories of their difficult lives in the orphanage, and with each passing day, their bond grew stronger. They traveled together, made new memories, and began to build a relationship that was stronger than any secret they had kept for so long. Alina realized that her true family was not defined by blood alone. Her real family were the people who supported her, who loved her unconditionally, and who had been by her side all along. Years passed, and Alina found herself reflecting on her journey. She had forgiven Victor and Maria for their silence, and in the process, she had discovered the true meaning of family. The twins, Ilya and Darina, had become her closest friends, and together, they had formed a new family, one built on understanding, love, and acceptance. Alina's life, once filled with questions and uncertainty, was now full of clarity and peace. She had found the answers to the questions that had haunted her for years, and she had forged the relationships that would guide her into the future. She no longer felt lost or incomplete. Alina had discovered that family is not defined by the circumstances of your birth, but by the love and connection you share with those who truly care about you. And with that, Alina stepped into a new chapter of her life, one filled with love, healing, and a newfound sense of belonging.
Thank you for being with me in this story. If you enjoyed it, support the video with a like and a subscription. See you in new stories.